Okay, 1 second here. 1 second here. Sorry. Okay, clearly I'm a bit scared today. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks for tuning in whenever you're tuning in. Hope you've had a wonderful week. And we're going to get started on this week together by talking about chapter 7 of the book For People Who Think. So, yeah, let's get into it. We're talking about eternal salvation. Who really enters paradise, right? That's what we're talking about today. So, yeah, blessings and peace be upon you all. And um, hmm, well, compared to Islamic views, we're gonna jump right into it, by the ways. So compared to Islamic views, those in Christianity and Judaism break down key Quranic verses and explore how neglecting reasoning can impact us. So that's what chapter 7 really looks like when it comes to um, eternal paradise, right? So first thing I want to talk about is like inclusivity of salvation in Islam. So in Quran chapter 2, I'm looking at my notes here, 111 to 112, it says, and they claim none shall ever enter paradise unless he be a Jew or a Christian. Such are their wishful beliefs. Say, O Prophet, produce an evidence for what you are claiming if what you say is true. So when you break down these verses, Islam is basically challenging these exclusive claims, emphasizing that salvation is open to everyone who submits to Allah and do good deeds. So it's basically like you could say almost like I would say like a universal religion or faith. So regardless of your background, anyone can find their path to paradise through sincere submission to Allah. It's not like how some people might say like, oh, you have to be born a Jew to go to heaven. So that's the first thing that we should think about, the fact that in Islam it's inclusive of to everyone as long as they are, meeting that qualification. And the next thing is to focusing on like the reasoning in Islam versus others' faiths. And it's funny because I feel like even though we have this aspects, a lot of us don't use this gift of reasoning that we're blessed with. So, for example, in Judaism, the book talks about how often it emphasizes on birthright, meaning salvation is tied to being born into that faith. So that means like you're automatically like basically blessed to go to heaven because you're born a Jew. Um, that's like what the book makes it seem to be, like the understanding, where mainstream Western Christianity, and I want to emphasize on that because there's so many different sects of Christianity, place a strong focus on compassion and forgiveness, believing Jesus, forgiving all sins, and sometimes sidelining personal accountability. Where in Islam, it's contrast to that. Islam evaluates reasoning as a critical component of faith, and like we're encouraged to question, understand, and reason our faith and Islam in general. um, that's why the Quran is such like a profound book um, when it comes to knowledge. And then the other thing you think about is the book discuss is the responsibility and accountability, right? So in Quran 4 verses 123 to 124, it says, it may not accord with your wishful thinking, nor with the wishful thinking of the followers of earlier revelation. He who does evil shall be reacquainted for it, and shall find none, and shall find none to protect him from God. So this verse, it reminds us that the mere wishful thinking won't protect us, right? Like everyone's accountable for their own actions, regardless of their identity, regardless if you're born into it or regardless of if you believe all your sins are wiped out just because you simply believe in Jesus. So it discussed the importance of taking action, like doing the good deeds that are necessary and maintaining that beliefs as a prerequisite of paradise, right? It's not you just wake up, you believe in God, and you get to go to paradise just because. Um, and the fourth thing that the book really looks at is neglecting reasoning in today's Muslims, which is really interesting because this book was written back then and it still applies to today, unfortunately. So that means that all that time went by and we clearly have not learned anything as a community, unfortunately. So, despite the emphasis on reasoning, many Muslims today overlook this gift, right? We rely solely on traditionals or cultural practices. And then because of like relying on such things, we go into like this consequence of just without reasoning, we risk misunderstanding our faith and we just we're missing the profound teaching of what Islam is really about because we're too busy trying to go according to what culturally is norm or what our cultural beliefs of Islam is. We no longer use our reasoning that's gifted to us by being Muslims. Instead, we go along to like, okay, this is what the Imam says, so this must be accurate, or this is what this person says, so this scholar said, so this must be accurate. We don't. It's as if we are on pilot mode and we don't think that we need to use our brains anymore because everything's already set out for us and we know that we should do these obligations, and after we do those obligations, that's all that's required from us. We don't have to do anything beyond those obligations, which is obviously problematic. And author touches on why that's problematic. If you have any idea or if you like disagree with that, let me know in the comments. But I agree with the author that we do have this problematic mindset of believing that we can be in pilot mode or this robotic mode of just doing what's obligatory of us and not surpassing what is obligatory of us. Um, Another thing is um, just the author conclude everything by just saying that Islam calls us to have a balanced path. And I just want to emphasize on that because I feel like today a lot of Muslims look at things as black or white and forget the gray area called being human. And the author goes into talking about like, one that combines faith, reason, and action. Let's thrive. They thrive like, according to Allah's will. They're true mu'mins, they're true believers. They're surpassed the obligatory Muslim and they've become true believers because they know that Allah's looking for the sincerity and the action in what we do. Excuse me. So that's what we should all be thriving for. We should strive to embody this in our lives, to embody the to embody a lifestyle that is reflective of a balanced path that combines our reasoning, our action, and our faith. You know what I mean? So that's what the author really touches us on. So, yeah, if this discussion was beneficial to you, please feel free to like, hit that subscribe button, and share and to others who might find this useful as well. I do want to end this with a reflective journal entry that you guys can think about that I wrote down for you guys. So the topic of this journal entry will be obviously reflecting on salvation, reasoning, and accountability, which we all lack sometimes. So I have 5 things for you guys to think about throughout the week. The first thing is to reflect on the concept of salvation is in Islam. How does it differ from what you have learned about Judaism and Christianity, especially if you're from one of those backgrounds and you reverted like myself? And the second thing is to consider the verses that which I mentioned, which is chapter 2, verse 111 to 112, and chapter 4, verse 123 to 124. What does these verses teach you about the importance of reasoning and accountability? And what did you learn new when you went back with it with this mindset of reasoning and accountability verse when you first read that verse? And then 3, I want you to think about how often you use reasoning in your daily decisions regarding fate. Are there areas where you can rely more on traditions or emotions, or did you see yourself relying more on those things? And then 4, I don't know if I'm saying these numbers right. I feel like I messed up something there. But write about a time when you used reason to help you make a better decision in your faith or your personal life. And then 5, how can you encourage reasoning and accountability in your community to strengthen collective faith? I really want you guys to do those things because it will allow you to look at things from a different perspective. And I think it's good for us to look at things from a different perspective every now and then. And then, yeah, I just want you guys to also read about the concept of reasoning in Islam and its importance, and have a discussion with a family or friend that's also Muslim about the differences between how various religion views salvation. Like look at how Sikhs view salvations, look at how Hindus view salvation. Just challenge yourself to look at other things to understand how they view salvation, but start with Judaism and Christianity because they're the closest to us. And challenge yourself to question the and reason through one aspect of your faith that you have accepted without much thought before. um, I highly recommend you going back and thinking about what was one thing that I accepted when someone told me and I never even looked into it for myself. And I want you to go back and look at that from a reasoning perspective without just full acceptance. Um, because it's good for us to do that. But yeah, those are the things. If you guys want them, I can always put them in the chat as well later for you guys. Just comment, hey, give me the journal entry, and I'll put it in the chat for you guys if you guys are interested. But also want to mention that starting tomorrow, we're doing a challenge together. If you are signed up for my weekly newsletter, you already know what this challenge is, but I do want to share with everyone else because it's a really important challenge. We're having something important that's coming. We're having an important Islamic day that's coming up if you guys are following the Islamic calendar. So let me share that with you guys. Hold on, let me pull it up right here. So, and forgive me for pronouncing it wrong, but the 15th night of Shaban is basically like the night of forgiveness. It's considered like a particularly special night in Islam because it's like the night where you get like immense divine mercy from Allah. Like this is when He forgives many sins, and so this is a time that you're supposed to be making intense prior reflections and seeking forgiveness. And many Muslims observe this night by fasting during the day and performing extra prayers throughout the night. So because of that, I have a challenge at this week because the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to fast 3 days during this week. And I want to up it one. I want to give you guys a challenge to fast for the entire week, starting tomorrow, from Monday to Friday. It doesn't have to be like the full 7 weeks. I'm talking about according to like, Sunnah. So fast from Monday to Friday. And I want you guys to spend an extra 30 minutes to an hour daily just in connection with Allah. So that could be like your dhikr walk, that could be just, extra salahs, that could be extra reflection on Allah, that could be reading the Quran for extra 30 minutes or listening to the Quran for extra 30 minutes. And set a personal goal for the week. You could do that today or you could do that tomorrow of what you want to accomplish within this week. And then write down your duas and things you seek for forgiveness for this week because this is a week. Well, the 15th is a day of forgiveness. And yeah, if you plan on taking part of this challenge with me, just let me know in the comments as well so that we could keep each other accountable. You could join our Discord where we're doing this challenge together. If you want someone to keep you accountable for this challenge. So thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna see. So we're actually gonna have another live coming up. Let me tell you when the next one will be. One second here. It's going to be this Friday, the 14th, and we're just gonna be going over. Short version is you could. So some people already started this challenge. They started on Friday. Last Friday because I put out a newsletter to start last Friday. But if you had things to do like me, unfortunately, you could start this Friday. I mean, this is not Friday, this is Sunday. You could start this Sunday and you could do it from Sunday to Sunday, or if you want, you can do it from Monday to Friday, whatever you want to do whatever works best for you. You could do a full week or you could do a full work week, whatever works best for you. And I would love to hear your feedback on how it went for you. We're going to be talking about that this Friday. We're going to be reflecting on how that week went. So hope to see you guys there. And I hope that will challenge you guys. Maybe you could even do it next week if you don't want to do it this week. It won't be the same rewards, but you'll still get blessings from Allah from fasting and dedicating extra time to Him throughout the week. But yeah, thanks for listening today. I hope that you guys were reminded of something new or something old, or you were reminded to look at things differently. And I hope that this will challenge you this week to go out and ask questions and use your reasoning and try to seek Allah through that. All right. Well, thank you and assalamu alaikum. See you next time. Bye.